Thank you, Hugh. Well, it's a rivalry that has never lacked for spice or intrigue, and is now intensified by context and supplemented by subplot. Jose Mourinho knows the vagaries of this particular fixture better than most, but never has a previous Spurs-Chelsea match that he's been associated with from either side of the fence been the subject of such a public dismissal. The abandonment of hope in the press conference may well have seen him draw on his skills as a showman, but the message was clear. Beating Maccabi Haifa is the be-all and end-all in these midweek commitments, and there could be collateral damage tonight. Well, he primes himself for a battle of wits against the man who provided one of the cornerstones of his Stamford Bridge success. Frank Lampard led Chelsea to a league double over Spurs last season, their first in 14 years. He freely admits he's learned so much from Jose, even if the differences between them are stark. Frank, for instance, has been happy to admit that such are his Chelsea loyalties after 700 games as player and boss that he couldn't remotely envisage the circumstances that would make him manage Tottenham. But what he will have taken from working under Mourinho is the importance of this competition. It was a League Cup triumph that proved the precursor to Jose's success at Stamford Bridge. With both managers waiting for their first piece of silverware at their current club, this represents the best chance of success. And each of them, irrespective of what's coming up, is extremely mindful of that. Debuts for each side today. Spurs, Lloris in goal, Aurier, Tanganga, Dyer, Alderweireld and Reguilon across the back five, with the Spaniard making his debut after his move from Real Madrid. Fernandes, Sissoko and Ndombele and Lamela in midfield. Bergwijn we expect to play up front on his own. Doherty, Højbjerg, Davinson Sanchez, Kane, Lucas Moura, Davis and Hart are the Spurs substitutes. Chelsea give a debut to Edouard Mendy in goal. Azpilicueta, Tomori, Zuma and Chilwell. Kovacic, Jorginho and Mount. Hudson-Odoi, Giroud and Werner a likely forward three. Ben Chilwell making his full debut, and Mendy his debut after his move from Rennes. It's been some story for the Senegalese international. Chelsea bench: Conte, Barkley, Abraham James, Havertz, Emerson and Aretha Balaga. Referee tonight is Lee Mason, who took charge of the League Cup final last season, and as he blows his whistle, the kick-off is taken too quickly for the referee, who's just asked Steven Bergwijn to reset. We Spurs that get us underway. They're kicking from right to left at this magnificent Tottenham Hotspur Stadium. A beautiful, crisp, clear autumnal night here. First match between these two since just before lockdown. Chelsea won the last 4 meetings, which is their best run in this fixture since they won 6 in a row, back between 2000 and 2002. Will Lampard be able to keep his 100% winning record as a manager in this fixture? Spurs on the front foot from the off. Bergwijn chasing down the right-hand side of the penalty area. It's cleared by Tomori, and his clearance has taken a ricochet off Lamela and goes out of play for a throw that Chelsea will take in their left-back position with Ben Chilwell. Still inside the opening minute. It's live on TalkSport. Spurs against Chelsea, and alongside me a man who represented both these clubs with great distinction, Clive Allen.
Good evening. Yeah, I'm looking forward to what is going to be, I think, a fiercely fought London derby for placing the last 8 of the Carabao Cup. Lamela started alongside Bergwijn. We thought maybe a 4 strung across the middle for Spurs, but Lamela pushed further forward as a striking partner with Bergwijn. So a positive start from Spurs.
And it is a 5-3-2 formation. With Ndombele playing on the left of the midfield three, Gedson Fernandes on the right and Sissoko in the middle, and Lamela up top alongside the Dutchman Bergwijn. It's Tomori at the back for Chelsea, to his left hand side for Zuma, and now to Ben Chilwell in his fluorescent yellow boots, played forward by him into the feet of Mason Mount. And Chelsea playing with a forward three. It is Werner on the left, Giroud through the middle, and Callum Hudson-Odoi is in possession now on the right hand side. Hudson-Odoi with a little drop of the shoulder, trying to get the better of Ndombele. Sissoko can get it away. Deft little flick from Lamela. Jorginho's back to mop up for Chelsea, and then Tomori will work it 40 yards back behind him to his goalkeeper Mendy, who's in the fluorescent orange, and takes a touch to bring it under control, and then lays it out towards the left-hand side. It's a great story, that of Edouard Mendy 5 years ago, unemployed and believing that his future lay outside of football, but now full international. He is 28, but hasn't got too many miles on the clock. Only 127 senior games before tonight. Out of Herald, able to get the ball away. But back it will come with the blonde-haired Timo Werner. Laying it back for Chelsea, about 15 yards outside the Spurs penalty area. Good movement coming off the ball from Jorginho, who will pick it up and go back to Zuma. Zuma to Tomori, and now to Cesar Azpilicueta, the Chelsea captain, who hits a raking diagonal ball that's over the head of Werner. And Aurier will watch it out of play for a throw that will be taken on the Tottenham right-hand side. 3 gone on TalkSport, and it's Spurs 0 Chelsea now.
A really interesting situation on that left-hand side for Chelsea. Werner's coming in off the left to give Chilwell the opportunity for those marauding runs on the outside down the touchline, already getting himself forward on that left-hand side for Chelsea.
Throw taken down the Spurs right, and it will be a retake because Aurier's throw straight out of play.
Never come into play, Jim.
Didn't come into play at all. Didn't judge not to have gone over the line, and so it will be a retake rather than a throw going the other way. Now he's trying to steal about 10 yards or so. It's Tanganga actually rather than Aurier, I beg your pardon. He's thrown it forward, and then as it's cleared back, it's taken a little touch off him and gone back out of play for a Chelsea throw in an identical position, which Werner will leave for Chilwell to take. Chilwell have played 25 minutes of the 6-0 victory against Barnsley in the last round. Since then, they had that terrible opening half hour against West Bromwich Albion the other night, where they were 3-0 down inside 27 minutes. Where Chelsea came back to draw, and again they still might have won, but it was a night that's concentrated a few minds. Here's Kovacic, and he was just caught from behind as he laid the ball off. Eric Lamella's given a free kick away, and this is in a central position, albeit it's a good 25 yards outside the penalty area. No thoughts of a shot from Mounty, just wanted to take it quickly. He's worked it to Azpilicueta. Hudson-Odoi urged to take the direct route towards the edge of the Tottenham box. His cross is too heavy, but Chilwell, over on the left-hand touchline, which is the far side as we look at it, able to lay it back. Werner's ball in, and Lloris was scrambling for a moment, but Reguilon had it covered and was there ahead of Hudson-Odoi to shepherd it out of play for a goal kick to Tottenham. 5 gone 0 now.
Yeah, good defensive position for Reguilon. First time he's really been called into the action. He's had to track Hudson-Odoi, who's trying to pick up the deep cross from Werner from the left to that far post. Reguilon just ushers it away, and goal kick given to Spurs. But it's a bright start from Chelsea. Mount's playing in a central position, just withdrawn off of Giroud. Hudson-Odoi off the right, Werner off the left.
Header from Tomori, through the midfield, Olivier Giroud coming to meet it, flicked down by Azpilicueta to Tomori, who's inside his own half, and then he will play to Zuma and out towards Ben Chilwell, who reached the semi-finals of this competition last season with Leicester, beaten with that dramatic goal from Trezeguet, the last minute of the second leg at Villa Park, which saw Villa get through to the final at Leicester's expense. Chelsea have won this competition 5 times, most recently in 2015 when they beat Spurs in the final. Spurs' most recent success, conversely, against Chelsea, but it was back in 2008, and that remains their last major trophy. Here's Eric Dyer for Spurs on the edge of their own penalty area. It's clearance straight to Jorginho. Picked up by Werner in the midfield, linking up, Jorginho chipping one over the top for the run from Giroud, but Eric Dyer came backpedaled and headed it away. And Ndombele then turning on the edge of his own penalty area, and then cleverly done by Bergwijn to get the better of Jorginho. Then he'll play it forward, down the inside left channel for Lamela to chase and attack. But Tomori was there, able to mop up for Chelsea, and Kovacic is called again by Lamela, and it's a free kick to Chelsea inside their own half.
Well, I think that would be Eric Lamella's last warning. There's 2 tackles from behind, just clipping legs, really irresponsible challenges from Lamela, because he's going to end up going in the book and then putting himself on a tightrope. But for me, the start has been bright by Chelsea. Spurs dropping off as I expected. I think they're very compact, Tottenham. They're asking Chelsea as to how they can unlock them. Chilwell far forward again on that left-hand side.
Those are the thoughts of former England international Clive Allen. We're 7 minutes in, and it's 0-0 as the ball is played down the Tottenham right. Lamela chasing, put out of play for a throw that will be taken on that Spurs right-hand side by Serge Aurier. These two sides met in the semi-finals a couple of seasons ago. Chelsea won that one on penalties. They also beat Spurs in the semi-finals way back in the day in the early 70s. Well, Spurs got revenge in 2002 with an extraordinary second leg at White Hart Lane. They beat Chelsea 5-1, made more the more extraordinary from the fact they'd lost the first leg and they were in that long run where they went 32 league games without a victory against Chelsea at one stage. But they got revenge that night. It's been a fantastic catalogue of matches between these two in this competition, but as I say, Chelsea have been successful in the last 4 cup ties between the two all told. Spurs have a throw, the right back position. We played 8 minutes on the darkening skies in North London as Bergwijn heads it on. And Kurt Zouma's there for Chelsea. He's one of the players in the starting lineup for Chelsea tonight who was in the starting 11 when Chelsea beat Spurs in that final in 2015. There is Cesar Azpilicueta. Tomori, instead of looking for him to his right, has sent a long diagonal ball forward towards Werner. It's brought under control by Gedson Fernandes, but it was a poor touch, and Chilwell was able to seize upon it. He's laid it back for Kovacic. Kovacic ran out of room as he looked for Mason Mount. The blonde-head Lamela is able to bring it away, and sliding in, he's flicked it off Jorginho, and out of play for a throw that will be taken on the Spurs right-hand side. There's been plenty of shadow boxing so far in the opening 9 minutes, some frantic midfield exchanges, but neither goalkeepers had anything to do with consequence at all. 0-0.
No, there's just clearly a policy from Chelsea's. They're hitting the diagonal from the right-hand side onto the top of Aurier, with Werner coming in off the lines, giving Chilwell the opportunity to come and support down that left-hand side. But for me at the moment, it's very Spurs looking solid, Chelsea trying to take the initiative in the game.
Ball out of play for another Tottenham throw, and there's been a steady succession of those. And it's Aurier that will take this. Gedson Fernandes is making only his 3rd start for the club today. Just a show for the ball into feet. As does Ndombele. That's the throw that is taken. Couldn't do anything with it. Chilwell hammers it away. Werner tries to bring it forward. Chelsea's new number 11, playing on the left-hand side again today, as he did against West Bromwich Albion at the weekend. Reguilon. Back for Ndombele. Dyer, calmly, just laying it back for his goalkeeper, Hugo Lloris, and the Spurs captain, who also played in that 2015 final, is able to get it away. In fact, this is only Hugo Lloris's 4th League Cup appearance in his career, and it is his 1st in this competition since that final 6 seasons ago. Here's Chilwell, laying it down for Tomori. On the right of the 2 centre-halves for Chelsea, played forward by him to Jorginho, who's supplying the width this time, in behind Azpilicueta. And now Cesar Azpilicueta can bring it forward over the halfway line. Quickly checks and turns back for Kovacic, and Tomori will find Zouma. And it's all very patient and a little bit pedestrian from both sides. Chelsea trying to just inject a little bit of tempo, but Spurs, well disciplined in this 5-3-2 formation, are able to cut out all the spaces at the moment.
They're having to go from side to side, Chelsea, keeping possession, but it is how they're going to penetrate this Spurs rearguard. The 5 strung across the back are certainly it's difficult. Frank's come into the technical area, just asking his forward players just to run in behind that Tottenham defence, just to try to stretch a little, allow the midfield players to come and get possession of the ball.
We're 11 minutes in, it's 0-0. This is the first of 6 live Carabao Cup ties that we've got for you over the course of the week. 3 more tomorrow. Newport against Newcastle on TalkSport 2 from 5:30. Everton against West Ham, also on TalkSport 2 at 7:45. And Brighton against Manchester United for the 2nd time in the week comes your way. Hugh in the chair down at the Annex, Sam Matterface and Tony Cascarino talk you through the action on the South Coast tomorrow night. Then Thursday, it's Villa Stoke and Liverpool against Arsenal. We've got it all covered for you here on the TalkSport network. The ball is at the feet of Tomori. Chelsea dominating possession at the moment. Tomori finding Zouma. Now Chilwell. Left-footed ball clipped forward from Chelsea. Hudson-Odoi was the target. Reguilon coming across to cover a man who made a couple of dozen appearances, so there or thereabouts for Real Madrid, but really made his name in that fantastic Europa League run for Sevilla last season. And Reguilon, as you would expect, looks completely at home here and very comfortable in what we've seen of him so far in the opening 12 minutes. Chelsea's debutant Mendy has had nothing to do to be able to prove his worth. Tomori. Down to Azpilicueta again. And the game has already had a lot of episodes that have been very similar to each other. Standard passages of play at the moment, but Chelsea trying to mix it up now with a longer ball forward. Giroud trying to bring Werner into play. Spurs get it away, and Tomori slides in, and it just comes off the advancing Reguilon. Out of play for a throw that Chelsea will take on halfway on the right-hand touchline. 13 gone, 0-0.
Yeah, Spurs find it difficult to get the ball into their front players, Bergwijn and Lamela, who's playing higher on the right-hand side. They've broke up play on a couple of occasions, but given possession away cheaply, not able to control the possession for any period of time. They need some possession, controlled possession, just to take the sting away from Chelsea. Chelsea, the two centre-halves, totally unpressured, shifting the ball from side to side and working it out to the two full-backs.
And the Spurs front two, when that happens, just shuttle along obediently inside their own half, but they're detailing Kovacic and Jorginho rather than putting any pressure on the two Chelsea centre-halves when they have the ball. Here's Hudson-Odoi now down the right-hand touchline for Mount, who, turning away from Dyer, wins a throw. Dyer wasn't sure that the assistant referee near touchline, Mark Scholes, got the decision right. But it is a Chelsea throw, and they've quickly switched the ball from right to left. Out to Chilwell again. Not a chance worthy of note so far. 14 gone, 0-0 here on TalkSport. Jim Proudfoot and Clive Allen talking you through the action from the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium, with Kovacic in possession. Chilwell making his way forward, just having to check his run to stay onside. Dyer appealing that he got him offside. The referee says no. Play continues, and then Chilwell's fouled. And an apology from Serge Aurier for the challenge, but it's a free kick that Chelsea have taken quickly. And it's work back for Jorginho in the central position now to Azpilicueta. And Spurs are getting just hemmed in inside their own final third at the moment, with Hudson-Odoi on the right-hand side of the box. Just pulling it back towards the edge of the penalty area, but not effectively for Werner. Gedson Fernandes can bring it away. Lamela tries to get further ground upfield, and then having been challenged, he's back on his feet quickly, and Ndombele takes over as the challenge of Jorginho is ridden effectively, and then Alderweireld can lay it out to his right-hand side to Tanganga, who's given it away straight to Mason Mount. 10 yards outside the penalty area. So a tricky start, Japhet Tanganga, so far this evening. Kovacic playing it wide for Chilwell. His ball inside the penalty area. A diving header away from Tanganga, and a shot in anger from the edge of the penalty area from Mason Mount is pulled well wide. 15 gone. It's 0-0.
First chance of a shot on target from Mason Mount. The pressure was good from Chelsea. There's an intensity in which they're going about. As soon as they lose possession of the ball, they're pressing high, they're hurrying Spurs. Spurs finding it very difficult to keep the ball. And with that, they're just trying to win the ball higher up the field to create an opportunity.
Kovacic sweeping up in the midfield. Gets it away from Gedson Fernandes. Tanganga playing it forward on what is only his 12th senior Spurs appearance tonight. Jorginho's got it back.
Another example there, Jim. Tanganga was hurried by Werner. The initial pass come back to him. He had to head it forward into the space. Again, Chelsea picking up the loose ball.
Here's Werner once more, who's spent the vast majority of his Chelsea career so far out on the left-hand side. Not his favoured role. It is one that he utilises so well for Germany, where he's given that little bit more licence to come in from the left-hand side and push into central areas to supplement the attack, and that's what he's doing here. And then he goes back outside the penalty area to pick it up. He's back to the direction of play. Lays it off for Chilwell. Chilwell's put under pressure. He's been caught again. The referee acknowledges it. Chilwell stayed down. Play goes on after the foul from Aurier. Chilwell's now back on his feet. Lee Mason might revisit that in a moment, but he's with Chelsea in possession, just allow play to go on. Good referee.
The second time that Aurier's caught Chilwell in a matter of seconds.
Mount's ball in. Tanganga with a loose touch, and the shot comes from Callum Hudson-Odoi straight to Hugo Lloris, who could catch it, and then he gets it upfield very quickly for Tomori to sweep up at the other end. But it was another loose touch from Tanganga. Grateful to get away with that poor clearance. Hudson-Odoi came to him sharply, did well to get the power on it, but he couldn't direct it either side of Hugo Lloris.
Well, it was an opportunity, first clear-cut opportunity. Hudson-Odoi tried to sweep that ball in with his left foot on the volley. In the end, he's quite tame the attempt straight at Hugo Lloris, but it was sloppy from Tanganga in the heart of that Tottenham defence.
Possession so far, 20-80. With Chelsea having the overwhelming majority of the ball. Giroud trying to guide on a long ball that was hit forward in his direction. Couldn't find Hudson-Odoi. Reguilon can clear it, comfortably knocking it away with his right foot. Brought then back down under control by Eric Lamela in the midfield for Spurs. But Bergwijn cutting an increasingly isolated figure up front. We talked about how Lamela was playing alongside him almost as a second striker in the early exchanges, but he's now having to come back to supplement the midfield because Spurs have got no possession whatsoever. It's only when they have the ball in deeper positions, as they've got from a throw now, that Lamela can push forward and play in support of Bergwijn up front.
But the pressure they've come under, the intensity in which Chelsea have closed down, they're not allowed Spurs any passing avenues to feed the ball into the front two. Either Lamela or Bergwijn starved of any service at the moment.
And Ndombele winning it in the midfield, getting the better of Jorginho. Again, the referee plays the advantage. Bergwijn comes off, links up the play. Reguilon loses out to Hudson-Odoi, who's got Azpilicueta to his right-hand side. Werner and Giroud in the middle. Reguilon dived in and committed himself. Azpilicueta turned it away. Werner peels away into the area and hits it into the bottom right-hand corner for his first Chelsea goal. And it's a moment of genuine quality. Timo Werner arrives at Chelsea, who lead at Spurs by 0-0.
Well, that's the way to punish a mistake. And Reguilon made a mistake, initially giving possession away. Azpilicueta brilliant down the right-hand side as Reguilon tried to recover his position, threw himself to try to prevent Azpilicueta crossing the ball. He cut back, he fed the ball along the 18-yard line to Timo Werner, and the rest, Jim, was fantastic. The first touch gave him the opportunity to fire in at that near post, and he was emphatic in the way that he drilled it into the bottom corner, giving Hugo Lloris absolutely no chance from 18 yards.
It was a brilliant finish. Giroud did well to get out of the way. Werner himself doing well to fire it into a very narrow gap between Lloris, who was slightly unsighted, and his left-hand post. And then the side of the familiar Werner celebration, hands outstretched to his side, wheeling away in delight. And it is a vision, I'm sure, that Chelsea fans will get increasingly used to seeing. The 112th goal of his career is his first in Chelsea colours, and they lead at Tottenham by 1-0. And now Spurs already have to be a little bit more proactive, and Reguilon will make his way forward. The first real run from him, and he got caught as he slid in to try and get the ball into the penalty area. And Fikayo Tomori's caught him, and the one-time England international is going to be spoken to by the referee, and Reguilon might need a little bit of treatment. He is being helped back to his feet, I'm delighted to say, but the referee's decided that it's nothing more than a lecture necessary for Tomori, and in fact he hasn't given a free kick. He's going to restart play with a drop ball here to Chelsea. So he just stopped play because he thought Reguilon was seriously injured. He didn't think it was a foul by Tomori.
Well, Tomori come across. It was a fierce challenge, but it was a fair challenge. He caught Reguilon, who was at full stretch, trying to retrieve the ball as he was running down that left-hand channel. But the referee, a bizarre way to restart the game.
Tomori to Zuma. Back for Mendy. Right-footed ball. Clipped down towards the right-hand side for Azpilicueta. Kovacic will try and take it on. Reguilon was in very quickly, gets it away. It's an awkward bounce, but Mendy's a very tall goalkeeper, was just able to stick his hands up and easily claim it off the head of Steven Bergwijn, who's probably 8-9 inches shorter than Chelsea's newest custodian. It's 1-0 to Chelsea with 21 gone on TalkSport.
I would say there was confidence from the goalkeeper. He had to give Tomori a shout, because there was just a moment where there could have been indecision that could have been dangerous for Chelsea. But he commanded his 18-yard box, did Mendy, and grasped the ball high. As you said, he's very tall, and took all the pressure off of Tomori.
Chelsea lost at home to Manchester United at this stage of the competition last season. And lost on penalties in the final to Manchester City the season before that. They're hoping to get through to the last 8 for what will be the 14th time in 20 years, which is an outstanding record. And at the moment, they know that as long as they keep a clean sheet, they will be there. A few question marks over their ability to keep a clean sheet, though, on the back of their performance in the first 27 minutes of the Black Country the other night.
Well, just away from home, Jim, they've found it very, very difficult to keep clean sheets, but certainly I just wonder where that goal threat is going to come from for Spurs.
So it might be here. Gedson Fernandes trying to get in, tries to get round the goalkeeper, back on his feet, and another challenge comes in on him from Zuma, and it ends up going out of play for a corner. But out of nothing, Gedson Fernandes having a chance, and now having a real chinwag with the referee about the legitimacy of a couple of challenges that came in on him, one from the goalkeeper and one also from Kurt Zuma. Just having a look at the replay, and the initial challenge from Zuma was certainly fair. There was no contact with the goalkeeper, and Zuma's done well at the second time of asking to get the ball away. There was little margin from error, but Zuma did well.
He did. The challenge was a good one. It was from behind, but his left leg came round the side as Fernandes was about to pull the trigger. Made a really good block.
First corner of the night, punched away. Lamella's delivery by Mendy. Down for Reguilon. On the corner of the penalty area, gets away from Werner, left-footed ball curved in, beautiful shape on it, high up in the air from the one Chelsea defender. Mendy thought about coming out for it. It was swept away from the edge of the 6-yard box for him. Lamela, now to Sissoko, turned out to the Tottenham left-hand side for Sergio Reguilon, and played down the left-hand side of that box for Bergwijn. Back it comes in through the midfield again, Reguilon. Linking up the play out of is forward. Sissoko's high ball, and Mendy again with a good positive piece of goalkeeping comes out and claims it. It's a good catch from him. Spurs asked for the game to be stopped.
Dyer's down.
Because Dyer is down, injured, and he's just looking at our monitors here. I don't know whether that's potentially a hamstring problem or a problem with his knee. It looks as though it could be a hamstring, and this is the worry that Jose Mourinho was talking about in the press conference about what the players were being asked to do, playing Sunday, Tuesday, Thursday. He said it would lead to injuries, and those at the moment unfortunately look like being prophetic words, with Dyer down in need of treatment here.
Well, he lost Son, didn't he, with a hamstring injury in the last game. Dyer has it sort of limped away from the 18-yard box, and he's hit the deck halfway in Chelsea's half. There is some concern down there. The information is coming back from the physios now on the field, and immediately Sanchez readies himself to come into the fray.
So Davinson Sanchez about to come on for Eric Dyer by the look of it, although Dyer is able to trot over towards this touch line. Maybe just felt a twinge, something like that. And certainly initially he's going to go back on. He's just having a swig of liquid, and he'll be back on in a moment. And Davinson Sanchez, who has put his shirt on ready for action.
Well, he thought he was coming on, Jim, I can assure you of that.
But Dyer's okay. Interesting that they're playing Dyer on the left of the three centre-halves without Alderweireld sweeping, whereas when they played in a back three under Mourinho last season, invariably it was the other way round, with Dyer in the middle of the three and Alderweireld played on the left. Here's Tanganga knocking it away. Left-footed clearance towards halfway that Azpilicueta can pick up, and he'll guide it back for Tomori, and then play forward through the midfield to Kovacic. It's 1-0 to Chelsea. Timo Werner's first goal for the club. Really well taken, low, crisp, right-footed strike some 6 or 7 minutes ago. Hudson-Odoi bringing it forward. Looks as though Dyer's okay. Here's Werner. Turning, out of trouble. Unable to find a teammate, and then Jorginho and Lamela are at it again. This time the free kick goes the other way as Lamela is fouled. We played 25 minutes, Chelsea leading 1-0. Don't miss the sports breakfast tomorrow morning here on Talk Sport from 6 a.m. with Alan Brazil back alongside Ali McCoist, and they'll be joined from 8 by the former Spurs midfielder Jamie O'Hara, among a number of great guests tomorrow morning. Talk Sport breakfast from 6. Alderweireld laying it back for Hugo Lloris, and his ball to the right hand side of the box is swept away again by Alderweireld, flicked on towards Eric Lamela on halfway. He's back to the direction of play. It was a good turn from him, but he's fouled his man, or at least that's how the referee has seen it, and it's a free kick which will be taken by Chelsea over on the left hand side. And the Tottenham number 30 Gedson Fernandes goes over and again is arguing with Lee Mason about the decision. The Chelsea medical staff are being waved on by Lee Mason, and then they've stopped. They've come sort of 6 or 7 paces onto the field, and then they've stopped and are now being told to come over, despite the fact that he's back on his feet. Zuma Just a few words between Frank Lampard and Jose Mourinho as well, which might not necessarily be all that good-natured between the two men who've worked with each other so extensively.
I think Jose's saying that Lamela just handed him off and he went to ground too easily, did Zuma. Frank disagreed. There's been some heated words and it's still carrying on down there, Jim.
Jose, 14 years Frank senior. And Frank knowing everything there is to know about Jose Mourinho, made 215 appearances under him. He's had the better of him in both previous matches. Certainly the game between the two sides here last Christmas, which Chelsea won 2. It was a tactical masterclass from Chelsea. There was no doubt about that. It was an excellent performance from them that day, and they got things absolutely bang on.
Okay, they celebrated in great style as well, Jim. Frank has enjoyed his time playing against Spurs as a Chelsea player, and he would love nothing more than to put one over on his old boss once again.
And Ndombele is down. It's just getting a little bit heated and fractious for a moment. He's okay, he's back on his feet.
Yeah, Giroud was a culprit there, a little bit of a late challenge on Ndombele. But of the two managers, Frank will be the happier the way this game's unfolding.
His side leading 1-0. Reguilon for Tottenham, bringing it forward, finding Bergwijn, left-hand side of the penalty area. Back from Reguilon to Tanguy Ndombele. And he goes back inside his own half for Dyer. Dyer goes square to Alderweireld, just away from the edge of the centre circle, and then wide for Tanganga. And his ball forward hits Werner, who couldn't quite bring it into his stride. Goes out of play for a throw that will be taken on the right-hand touchline. I say that Tanganga's had a tricky start. Have to put that in the context of the fact that it's his first game for the thick end of 7 months, because of the thigh problem that he's had, which has really curtailed his involvement for the vast majority of 2020.
But certainly for me, Jim, Chelsea and Frank Lampard have targeted him. They've hit balls on the diagonal over the top of him. Werner's been very, very sharp. Whenever Tanganga's got possession of the ball, he's closed him quickly, and he's just forced him into errors that he would not normally make.
Spurs with a goal kick. Players either side of Hugo Lloris inside the penalty area. Chelsea ready, hoping to be able to press them. Spurs will bring it forward here. Ball ricocheting up and hitting Sissoko's hand. Play goes on, and Tomori's there to clear. And now it's brought down by Ndombele in the midfield, but Jorginho wins it back, and he will clip it over the top, and all of a sudden Hudson-Odoi is going to get there, edge of the penalty area. He's got Spurs players between him and goal, but they'd lost their shape for a moment. He's clipped it inside the area. Werner's first touch with his chest forces him a little wider than he wanted to go, but he's pulled it back for Ben Chilwell. Maintaining possession and good pressure forces Chilwell back towards halfway, and ends up just being a tackle. Such was the nature of the underhit pass from Chilwell. Zuma had to slide in to just knock it away from Gedson Fernandes, and it goes out of play for a throw that'll be taken over on the Spurs right-hand side. Half an hour gone, 1-0 Chelsea.
Wonderful ball from Jorginho to give Hudson-Odoi the opportunity down this right channel. It forced Dyer to come out quickly. He just lost his footing at a crucial stage as he was breaking into the 18-yard box. But again, Chelsea carrying that threat.
Those are thoughts of Clive Allen alongside me, Jim Proud, with Hugh Woozencroft in the chair, and Declan McCarthy, our in-stadium producer here at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium, where Chelsea lead 1-0, and Hudson-Odoi's got possession. Right-footed ball inside the box is swept high up in the air by Tanganga, and then brought down by Reguilon, who will find Lamela, and then Reguilon brings it further clear before a challenge comes in on him from Hudson-Odoi, and the referee has given the free kick Spurs way, midway inside their own half, right over on the left-hand touchline. And not too many signs of Spurs being able to manoeuvre their way back into the game at the moment.
No, I thought they responded well to going behind. It just sort of sparked them into life. They put Chelsea defensively under a little bit of pressure. They didn't look particularly solid, but since that Fernandes half opportunity, which was really well blocked by Zuma, Tottenham have offered very little.
Alderweireld bringing it forward. Then going square to his left-hand side for Ndombele. Bergwijn dropping that a little bit deeper. Reguilon certainly, since the goal went in, has been given much more licence to push forward and show the attacking capabilities down that left-hand side, which we're so familiar after that brilliant Europa League run that Sevilla had. But Mendy's got the ball at his feet. Looks very calm and composed, Edouard Mendy, the Senegalese international, despite the fact that he's making his Chelsea debut today. Never fazed by anything, but he might have some work to do here. Ndombele plays it forward. Bergwijn trying to take it on the half-turn and flick it into the path of Lamela. Then an excellent crossfield ball from Gedson Fernandes. Reguilon just claps his hands in frustration after the touch went away from him. Azpilicueta brings it forward, finds Hudson-Odoi. Long crossfield ball from him, just too high for Werner to be able to field effectively. It comes off the top of his head and goes out of play for a Spurs throw on the right-hand side. 32 gone. Spurs 0, Chelsea 1 on TalkSport.
Just feel he's a little bit uptight. He's Reguilon. He made that mistake, which was costly when Chelsea and certainly Werner punished he gave away possession, slid into the challenge on Azpilicueta, which resulted in him finding Werner on the edge of the box for the opening goal. And since then, just a few sloppy passes and touches, just a little bit uptight in his body language.
It's just sent one down the left-hand touchline there for Lamela to chase. And Tomori's positioning was good. He had a head start as well. He was just able to shepherd it out of play for a throw. Just taken back for Mendy. Mendy to Kurt Zouma. And Zouma will play it forward out of the penalty area to find Kovacic. Chelsea coming into this game on the back of 4 defeats in the last 8 matches in all competitions. Spurs, on the other hand, with a decent home record. Have only lost once in the last 8 matches here. Jorginho's got the ball. Chelsea at the moment good value for the 1-0 lead as they look for a 5th straight victory over Tottenham. Reguilon intercepting a ball forward from his Patrick Azpilicueta, brought down by Gedson Fernandes. Little ricochet off him from Kovacic's touch in the midfield, and then he's been given a free kick about 10 yards inside Tottenham territory.
That's the difference between the two sides for me, Jim. Whenever Spurs, certainly midfield players, get in possession of the ball, they're fierce in the way that they're closing down the Chelsea. Again, 2-3 players against Ndombele when he receives that pass from Dyer.
He's got it again, and this time it's Hudson-Odoi who's over towards the touchline. And Jorginho concedes the throw. Spurs take quickly and work it back for Eric Dyer. Dyer back for Lloris. First time ball forward from him to Toby Alderweireld. Alderweireld who signed that new deal up until 2023 last season. And he's found Eric Dyer here who will bring it forward. Dyer, another man that played in that 2015 final between these two teams. Gedson Fernandes wide out towards the right hand touchline for Serge Aurier. Lamela in space, it's pulled back to him inside the box. Good turn, get away from Jorginho, and Mendy saves with his legs at the near post, and then he's headed back in by Reguilon, sliced away by Tomori, high up in the air, and Mendy comes out. Good goalkeeping under pressure, just came out, caught it very comfortably indeed.
Yeah, just commanding his box, but the save with his right boot was a good one. Lamela found himself with 2 yards of space in that 18-yard box, was able to turn, swivel, and then hit the diagonal shot across the face of the goal, which Mendy turned away with his right boot, and then as the ball spun up into the air, was up to claim it high and take the pressure off his defenders.
Chelsea will bring it forward again, and it's Mateo Kovacic this time. Gedson Fernandes has come back and nipped in goal side to win it back. He's been neat and tidy so far in the midfield as Gedson is on this 18-month loan from Benfica, Portuguese international. Still only 21 as well, so best days of his career very much ahead of him. Here's Lloris, veteran now of 330 Tottenham games, finding Alderweireld. Ball forward from him. Lamela being wrestled by Zouma, wins a free kick right snap bang on the halfway line, which Tottenham will take. Better possession for them in the last 7-8 minutes or so, but Mendy's just had the one save to make. It was a relatively comfortable one, and Chelsea still good value for the 1-0 lead.
Yeah, I think Chelsea have been the better side. They opened with a real intent in the way that they closed Spurs down. Spurs found it very difficult to get going, and the service into the front players is not good enough for them to really make progress up the field.
You're listening to Talk Sport, and up after us at 10 p.m. tonight, it's your chance to have your say on National Radio with the Sports Bar, with Jermaine Beckford in alongside Andy tonight. 08717 223344 is the number. And you can get your calls in and have your say on National Radio from 10 p.m. tonight here on Talk Sport. Toby Alderweireld in possession for Spurs. Straight ball which Chilwell can head away. Back he comes in from Aurier. Good header forward from him as well. Bergwijn judging the bounce, then trying to nod it forward. Aurier continued his run. High clearance up in the air from the Chelsea back line, brought down comfortably, and Hudson-Odoi is the outlet. And he's turned it back towards Azpilicueta. Spurs retreating. And now it's easy possession for Chelsea, who can just bring it forward towards halfway as Chilwell lays it into the feet of Mason Mount. And back it goes again. Kovacic now to his right-hand side for Azpilicueta. And Chelsea will bring it forward over halfway.
Well, that's definitely the difference between the two sides. You saw it there. Chelsea regained possession of the ball. There's no real press from Spurs. They're happy to drop away, find their shape defensively, and then let Chelsea, unpressured, dictate the tempo of the game. And that is something that is vastly different the way Chelsea have approached this type. Whenever Spurs defensively have received the ball, they've pressed, they've gone after the ball, and they've hurried Spurs into unforced errors.
Chilwell in possession, plays it back inside his own half. Azpilicueta now, long right diagonal ball forward from him. And Chilwell chasing out towards the left-hand touchline. It's played in there by Werner's little cushion header. It's Timo Werner's goal 19 minutes ago, on the 19-minute mark. That's the difference between the two sides. Azpilicueta in towards the feet of Giroud, and then headed on through the midfield by Jorginho. Brought down here by Kovacic. Kovacic right in the initial challenge which came from Aurier. Back out for Werner. Little back heel flick from him. Playing with a swagger now that he's broken his Chelsea duck, Timo Werner. And back he comes towards halfway, where it'll be worked comfortably by Zuma down towards Azpilicueta, and still so much Chelsea possession. 1-0 they lead. Spurs trying to find an answer for it, trying to be able to get the ball forward. They're such a good counter-attacking side, and it was brilliantly executed, those counter-attacks at Southampton particularly a couple of weekends ago. But I feel that Spurs are a side that benefit more than many from scoring first in a game.
Absolutely, just the way that they shape up, the way that they defend, the way that they've dropped off here. They're allowing Chelsea possession from their own half, making sure that they're solid with 5, and then the 4 strung across that midfield.
Chelsea's possession over the game as a whole is 68% now. It was up in the low 80s at one stage. But it's 68-32 in Chelsea's favour. They lead 1-0. The shot count pretty level, actually, 3-2 in Chelsea's favour. Azpilicueta's got it. Play forward through the midfield for Kovacic, and Lamela sliding in has done well to win it back, and now will try and lead a counter-attack, but a little bit too tardy in getting the ball out from underneath his feet. And Jorginho and Mount could come back and dispossess him. And that battle is still going on between Jorginho and Eric Lamela in the heart of the midfield. And there's always words going on. There have been 3 or 4 free kicks given away. And on that occasion, as the play was legitimately knocked away from Lamela by Jorginho, again there was just a little contretemps from distance between the pair of them.
Well, Lamela did brilliantly to regain possession of the ball with his challenge, but then immediately was pressured, and Jorginho just hooked it away from him, and he was so frustrated, Eric Lamela. You can see he really is. There's steam coming out of his ears at the moment.
Well, he's ended up on the deck again, and he's had the free kick go against him for an offside this time.
Jim, he's tried to head it on. He's got clattered from behind by Tamori. He's hit the deck thinking he's going to get a free kick, and he then deemed offside. So he's not having the best of times at present.
Eric Lamela, who also played in that 2015 final defeat, his last Premier League goal coming more than a year ago now against Palace back in September. He's had real bad injury problems, of course. Just 12 Premier League starts last season, and that was more than in any of the previous 3 campaigns. Part of the furniture at Tottenham over the last few years now, but just struggling to be able to make a consistent impact, and he hasn't really been given the kind of service that he would want tonight, the former Roma player. He's pushed forward here and has caused Chelsea knock the ball away from the edge of their own box. Out of play for a throw that will be taken on the Tottenham left, and Ndombele will leave it for Reguilon to take. Reguilon just flicking it up with his left foot and then his right, and catching him. Now waiting for a little bit of movement ahead of him. It's over Bergwijn's head. Bergwijn making the angle for the little flick from Lamela, and then it's not square for Gedson Fernandes, but he couldn't bring it into his stride to get the shot in. That was really well worked from Tottenham from that throw, but they just let themselves down with the final touch.
Just that final touch. The ball's worked across the 18-yard line from the front. Nice touch from Lamela, helped on, and then Fernandes arriving. I thought he might have struck it first time, Jim. The opportunity was there just for a split second for him to hit it first time. In the end, it run away from him, and Chelsea were able to clear.
And Lee Mason has, as the ball's gone out of play for a throw, just asking Spurs to retreat 10 yards or so. We've just seen an image on our monitors of Harry Kane just putting shin pads on. I just wonder at what stage Jose Mourinho will decide that he has to try and gamble, use some of his heavy artillery. Thursday's game against Maccabi Haifa in mind, and of course the trip to Old Trafford at the weekend. He won't want to use them tonight, but he clearly doesn't want to go out of this competition whatever he says. Lamela turning on the edge of the area, can't find a way through. Chelsea bring it away.
As late as possible, Jim, I would expect. While it stays 1-0, certainly he wouldn't look to introduce him too early in the second period. But if it stays 1-0 deficit, you've got to be looking to introduce Harry Kane at some point.
And Ndombele to Gedson Fernandes. Bit more space for him this time. Gedson knocking it full for Lamela. He's probably had as many touches as any of the other Spurs players. Chelsea knock it away this time with Chilwell, but the referee has again put whistle to mouth for a foul.
And guess who, Jim?
Lamela. On Zuma this time. Not only because Jorginho wasn't within reach.
He's just bundled into the back of him, as Eric does. There's so much enthusiasm in the way he goes about it, but there's a lack of control, really, that costs him dear.
2 minutes to go to half-time. Chelsea leading at Tottenham here on TalkSport by a goal to nil. From 4 a.m. every weekday morning, you can download the new TalkSport Daily podcast, which will include some of the best bits from TalkSport. If you miss any reaction from tonight's matches, it'll be ready for you on your way into work tomorrow morning. That's the TalkSport Daily, and you can listen to it on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or Acast. We've got 90 seconds to go to half-time. Chelsea leading. Timo Werner's goal on 19, the difference between the two sides. An opportunist finish in a game in which concrete goal-scoring opportunities have been very, very isolated. Chelsea have it with Jorginho in the midfield. Back from him to Azpilicueta. Down for Hudson-Odoi on the right-hand touchline. He's just ventured infield about 10-11 yards and laid it back inside his own half for Azpilicueta. Now to Jorginho, played out to the left for Tomori. Tomori into the feet of Kovacic. Back it goes from him to Jorginho, who said just drop that a little bit deeper and split the two Chelsea centre-halves for a moment, and then hits a slightly misdirected crossfield ball for Azpilicueta, whose hands are out immediately looking at Jorginho after he's dealt with it. Then they look forward, a long ball which Giroud has headed down, but Mason Mount couldn't get up there with him in support, because it was an excellent touch from Giroud into space, but Spurs won the second ball significantly.
Lack of support certainly had Mason Mount taken off when that ball was played forward. Giroud just comfortably headed it back into his path, but he was 2 yards behind the play.
Just didn't gamble that Giroud was going to be able to deal with the long ball forward as effectively as he did. Has scored against Spurs in each of the last 2 seasons, Olivier Giroud, man who played in 10 North London derbies in his time. There's a couple of goals in those in Arsenal colours. A couple of minutes to be added at the end of this first half, the injury to Eric Dyer, and we're in stoppage time now. 1-0 to Chelsea. 4 from Kovacic. Over the halfway line to find Mason Mount, and now out to Werner, who will come in off the left-hand touchline and play back for Mount again. 10 yards outside the Tottenham penalty area. Jorginho working it wide for Chilwell. Chilwell finding Werner via a touch from Aurier on its way through. It wasn't a clean pass, and there's a coming together off the ball involving Chilwell, and then another involving Eric Lamela, who then kicked the ball at the Chelsea player Kovacic, who was down on the ground. He didn't hit it at him particularly hard, but he certainly knew what he was doing. He's crazy. Properly riled up.
That was crazy, Jim. Right in front of the referee. Lee Mason is just having a quiet word with him. He must be on his final warning now, Eric Lamela. He's apologised, but he clearly kicked it at his opponent.
Not with a great degree of power, it has to be said. But it hit him. He knew what he was doing. The ball's gone out towards Chilwell from this free kick. Chilwell back for Werner. Werner just losing the ball in the midfield. It's a layoff that Chelsea didn't anticipate. The Tottenham counter-attack could be on here as Lamela makes his way forward. He was fouled by Kovacic. That could be a yellow card. Mateo Kovacic, sensing the danger, knowing it was 2 against 2, couldn't allow Eric Lamela to get past him, so he pulled him down.
Had to stop the run. Lamela breaking. Lovely ball from Ndombele to release Lamela into the Chelsea half. and all of a sudden Kovacic is the wrong side, has to just really pull him back, pulls Lamela to the floor. Referee Lee Mason issues him with the yellow card.
Man who sent off in the FA Cup final, getting his first yellow card of this season. So, right at the end of this first half, in stoppage time, an opportunity for Tottenham to get back on level terms. Eric Lamela standing over the free kick, clipping it in left-footed, hoping for the run from Eric Dyer around the back. It wasn't the greatest free kick, truth be told, and Chelsea can get it away, and there ends the first half. Well, there's been a premium goal-scoring opportunity, but the one chance that came Timo Werner's way was put in with brilliance. Low fire drive into the bottom right-hand corner after a mistake from the Tottenham debutant Sergio Reguilon, and that's been the difference between the two sides. Spurs have got better as the game has gone on, but over the whole piece, Chelsea deserved the advantage, and at half-time it's Tottenham 0, Chelsea 1. Hugh, thank you very much indeed. It will be Chelsea kicking from right to left in blue shirts and shorts who will get us underway. Spurs in their traditional white shirts with the dark blue trim and dark blue shorts. Tottenham, Lloris in goal. Aurier, Tanganga, Dyer, Alderweireld and Reguilon, the back five. Then in midfield, it's Fernandes, Sissoko and Ndombele with Lamela and Bergwijn up front. Chelsea, Mendy in goal. Azpilicueta, Tomori, Zuma and Chilwell. Kovacic, Jorginho and Mount. Hudson-Odoi, Giroud and Werner are the forward three. Lee Mason's the referee. Just Kovacic's name in the book so far. Don't think it'll be too long before Eric Lamela joins him, unless he's managed to be calmed down over the last 15 minutes. But he had a yellow card with his name on it in the post in the first 45 minutes, but it hasn't come as yet. Chelsea get us underway. And already the ball worked through towards Werner, who rides a couple of challenges, and the second one that came in on him from Tanganga has been given us a free kick. And it's another opportunity early in the second half for Chelsea to get the ball forward. Kovacic working it out to the right-hand side for Azpilicueta. Mount trying to turn and draw Eric Dyer out of position, his England teammate. Back it comes from Jorginho in the midfield. Chelsea are 20 yards outside the Tottenham penalty area, leading by a goal to nil, with Timo Werner's first for the club on 19 minutes, the difference between the two sides. And back it comes for Tomori, who will work it forward for Azpilicueta. First time ball from him, through the midfield for Jorginho, and Lamela is always not too far away from him. Back it comes now for the dark-haired Chilwell, on the left-hand side of the Chelsea midfield for a moment, and he will go inside his own half. Zuma and Tomori almost caught in possession. It was an excellent press from Bergwijn, and Tomori just got his feet adjusted in time. Mendy's ball out put a little bit of pressure on Azpilicueta, and it was a good, strong, intense press that time from Spurs, which we didn't see too much in the first half. But Ndombele joining forced the error, and Spurs have got play back on the left-hand side, and then haven't won a throw, they've conceded a throw. There's a little double ricochet over on that left-hand touchline. Last touch coming off Reguilon, and out for a Chelsea throw, which Azpilicueta will take. But that was a moment of more encouragement for Jose Mourinho and Tottenham.
Yeah, and it was just a moment of pressure. Bergwijn higher up the field, put in Tomori under pressure. He just had a quiet word, Jorginho, with him, just to say, on your toes, make sure that you deal with the ball quickly, because all of a sudden there was a real threat from Spurs that they could have nicked the ball right on the edges of Chelsea's 18-yard box.
Lloris, way to our left, picking up possession, finding out of Alderweireld, now to Dyer. And Dyer's ball forward, finding Tanguy Ndombele, who turns in the midfield, finds Bergwijn. Ndombele's performances have drawn a mixed bag of reaction from Jose Mourinho. But he did go on record the other day saying, well, I trust him for now. And he started again this evening. Spurs working it neatly through the midfield. Is an excellent ball, the outside of the right boot from Bergwijn. Aurier to Sissoko, sliding in, gets it in towards the edge of the 6-yard box. Lamela was his target, but Tomori's there to clear. And he goes out for a throw right in front of Jose's technical area, which Tanganga will come across to take, and take quickly back for Alderweireld. 1-0 Chelsea.
Jim, the whole thing has started. Brilliant work from Ndombele in that midfield. He attracted 3 Chelsea players. He spun. He managed to release the ball, and all of a sudden Spurs had the opportunity to break down the right-hand side.
Big handball shout against Ben Chilwell. And Sissoko's cries which I'm sure you heard from our lofty vantage point about 40 yards away, were heeded by referee Mason. Spurs go back with the free kick, but then go back to go long. Alderweireld trying to turn Zuma, with Lamela making the run. And he goes out for a throw that Serge Aurier will take now down by the corner flag. Tottenham 0, Chelsea 1, with Timo Werner's goal on 19 minutes, the difference between the two sides here on Talk Sport. First of 6 live commentaries that we got for you on the Talk Sport network over the course of the week, as the ball is worked back in towards Bergwijn on the edge of the penalty area, but leaning back, he's fired it over the junction of post and bar and out for a goal kick.
Did well to get the shooting opportunity, rolled on the corner of the 18-yard box away from Jorginho. Then as he's running along that 18-yard line, opens his body up but lashes at the shot high over that crossbar, giving Mendy no problems.
Scored 3 goals so far for Tottenham. Steven Bergwijn, he netted against Manchester City, Wolves and Manchester United last season. All of those goals coming here. Mendy clearing his lines. High ball forward. Giroud can't hold it up. He's not been blessed with a huge amount of service tonight. Lamela's done well to turn it around the corner here for Aurier. Bergwijn in the middle. It's pulled back. What a chance! Good save from Mendy. Ball worked back to Reguilon, who was steaming in towards the edge of the penalty area, and one debutant thwarted by another as Mendy dived to his left-hand side, got a strong hand to it to beat it away for a corner.
It's a really good stop because Aurier cuts the ball back just inside that 18-yard box. Reguilon arrives, he tries to drill it with power into the roof of the net. Mendy at full stretch just parries it over the top. Very, very strong hands from the Chelsea debutant.
Ball was moving in the air. Maybe he got his hand slightly past the flight of it, but he did well to adjust, and it did go over for a corner. Spurs second. Chelsea haven't won one yet. Mendy comes out, punches that one away emphatically. Back through a crowd of players from Gedson Fernandes. Looks as though it took a deflection off Tomori on its way through, and it should be another corner. And you could tell that was definitely what happened from the reaction from both sets of players. Firstly, 4 Tottenham players surrounding the referee, and Tomori himself walking away with his hands up as if to say, "Didn't hit me, Gov." And clearly that betrayed the fact that the exact opposite was the reality. But goal kick given, and it's 1-0 to Chelsea.
But better from Spurs at the start of the second half. They have got bodies higher up the field. They have hurried Chelsea into making mistakes and turning possession of the ball over.
Giroud beaten by Tanganga. He's had a better start of the second half than he did the first. Now Reguilon will take it, just nudge it into space, past Azpilicueta. Knows he's got the beating of him for pace. Tomori comes across and sweeps up and does well, because he's played it into Reguilon and out for a throw, which Chelsea will take midway inside their own half. 6.5 minutes gone in this second period. Werner coming in off that left flank, flicking it forward for Giroud, who will chase very gamely, but Lloris is there to knock it away. And his long clearance is headed back out of play by Ben Chilwell for a throw that will be taken on the Tottenham Hotspur right. Just a reminder of what we've got coming up for you tomorrow in terms of live Carabao Cup action. 3 games: Newport against Newcastle, Brighton Manchester United, and Everton West Ham on TalkSport 2 and TalkSport coming your way tomorrow. Newport Newcastle at 5:30, and that's over on 2. And then 7:45 here, Brighton against Manchester United, with the build-up starting at 7. Hugh in the chair and Sam Mataface and Tony Cascarino talking through the action. And I'll be at Goodison with Chris Owelamo alongside me for the match against West Ham tomorrow night. And that also over on TalkSport 2. That's a 7:45 kickoff. Thursday we've got Villa against Stoke and Liverpool against Arsenal. Friday, Championship action from Coventry against Bournemouth. And then Saturday, it's Chelsea Palace, Game Day Live, Leeds Manchester City and Newcastle Burnley, all on TalkSport. Here, with a left-footed effort from the edge of the penalty area, Aurier has put it some way wide. How he'd much rather have had that on his right foot than his left. He's just passed it into the hoardings behind the goal, and another half chance comes to nothing. But it's been a much better second half performance from Spurs. Their best 8 minutes of the game undoubtedly has been the 8 minutes since half-time, and they still trail by a goal to nil, but a little bit of light at the end of the tunnel now. Chelsea yet to really get going in the second period.
Absolutely, but a glimmer for Spurs. A straight ball from Alderweireld, really well taken by Stephen Bergwijn, and he rolls it along the 18-yard box. Aurier arrives, but he wasn't convinced, I don't think, that he had the left foot to sweep that opportunity into the back of the net. It was a tame effort in the end.
Now Lamela has done really well. He's found Ndombele. This is all after a mistake from Chilwell. Bergwijn goes down, no penalty. Chilwell's challenge was clean. Referee very quickly across to wave the penalty appeals away, and there was no discernible complaint from the Tottenham men. Dyer back for Alderweireld. And Alderweireld will turn and go back to his goalkeeper.
Good challenge from Chilwell, well timed, strong, coming out with the ball. Bergwijn tumbled over. Lee Mason immediately waved it away, and rightly so.
Gedson Fernandes to Reguilon. And then Dyer's crossfield ball straight to Timo Werner, who just nods it down into the path of Olivier Giroud and makes an angle for the return ball, which the Frenchman is delighted to provide. And then Alderweireld comes across and knocks it away from Kovacic's run, and it goes out for a throw that will be taken on the Chelsea left-hand side by Chilwell. Chilwell just got away with that error being caught in possession about 30-40 seconds ago, which led to that last Spurs attack. He can flick it forward here, can Ben Chilwell. It goes out, just kept in by him, but Lamela winning it back deep inside his own half. Plays it back from Ndombele. Now on the right-hand side of the Spurs back line, it'll be turned back by Aurier for Sissoko. Zuma's there to stab it away, but Eric Dyer can bring it forward, and Reguilon never slow to get forward to his left-hand side. That's the pass that is played. Now worked in towards Bergwijn. Bergwijn trying to get round Tomori, who just took advantage of a slightly heavy touch from the Dutchman to steer it away, but at the expense of another Tottenham corner.
Well, he concedes a corner, does Tomori, but it's good defending, because as Reguilon fires that ball into Bergwijn's feet, he just tries to drag it past the defender. He steps out and then he toes it away to concede the corner, but it's brighter from Spurs. They're on the front foot. They're putting Chelsea defensively under pressure, moving the ball quicker, higher up the field.
Well, first half possession ended up being 72% to Chelsea, but this second half is nearly 50-50 so far. Chelsea just shading it now. Tanganga from a corner that was worked short. Tanganga's the deepest of the outfield Spurs players, and he just hoists a straight ball forward into the Chelsea penalty area. And Mendy has shown a willingness to come off his line and attack everything that comes his way inside the penalty area. A good commanding piece of goalkeeping again. Sometimes he catches, not afraid to punch. We've seen that on a few occasions. Perhaps punches a few that other goalkeepers might catch, but I have to say that so far his evening's work has been faultless. Jorginho's got the ball for Chelsea, 11 minutes into the second half. And Jorginho just stretches out the palms of his hands. He's done it on a couple of occasions. In fact, a third occasion, as eventually goes back for Tomori. He's just complaining about the lack of options ahead of him. Azpilicueta gets it now, and as he plays it forward, he's looking for Mount. It's cut out by Sissoko, cleared by Reguilon, looking to get Eric Lamela in. Tomori with the initial header. Zuma will come across and has done well to get goal side of Eric Lamela, who's fouled him. And then Lamela, having heard the whistle, looks at the referee and then rolls away holding his face into the penalty area. But he's back on his feet and he's okay, I'm glad to say.
He's okay. We thought for a minute, I thought for a second that he might have been caught by Zuma as he made that challenge, but no, he's up on his feet, he's back in the fray, but he really is. He's an eccentric character, I've got to say. He's Eric Lamela.
Chilwell plays it forward. And Olivier Giroud has got it on the left-hand side of the box. He's played it back in behind Werner. Those lines of communication will improve game by game. Chelsea still have it. Azpilicueta bringing it forward, but firing wide of the near post. A rising drive that Lloris, I beg your pardon, could just watch safely wide for Tottenham. And we're 12 into the second half on Talk Sport. And it's still, as it's been for nearly 40 minutes now, 1-0 to Chelsea.
That's what disappoints Jose Mourinho. Ndombele just didn't get out to Azpilicueta quick enough. He took a touch, he took a second, and then in the end he was able to take the shot. It was a poor shot from Azpilicueta, but Jose Mourinho will be disappointed with Ndombele's defending there.
Tottenham might feel that an equaliser is closer now than it's ever been. Sissoko finding Sergio Aurier on the right-hand side, faced up by Chilwell. Well, the likes of Hudson-Odoi just haven't been able to get into the game in the second half as yet. Chelsea happy to a certain extent just to sit back and soak up the pressure since half-time and try and hit on the counter-attack, but very few opportunities for them to do so. They can bring it away now with Jorginho, and he was caught by Aurier, and that will be a yellow card.
That was a late challenge, it really was. He jumped into the... He felt that Jorginho just overrun it, but he jumps into the challenge, he's towed away, and he catches Jorginho and receives rightly a yellow card. It is a late challenge from Aurier.
Aurier, the first Tottenham player to have his name taken tonight. Kovacic was booked for a professional foul with a capital P about 3 or 4 minutes before half-time. Certainly a good one to concede, good yellow card to take from a Chelsea perspective. A good awareness of the situation, and Spurs trying to break quickly. Those tactical fouls that frustrate in many ways, but Chelsea fans would have been very frustrated had he not done it. And he himself has now won a free kick as Gedson Fernandes wired into him. And Spurs, as we've been saying, pressing with so much of a greater intensity in the second half than they did in the first. Chelsea free kick on the edge of their own penalty area. They're just over half an hour away from making it through to the quarter-finals of the competition for the 14th time in 20 seasons, and being the first team to make it through to the last 8 this season. Another 3 will join them tomorrow. The ball has been played back for Tanganga. He goes to his left-hand side for Alderweireld. Long ball forward from Alderweireld is easily headed away by Cesar Azpilicueta on the Chelsea right. Hudson-Odoi brings it through the midfield to find Kovacic. Kovacic will almost have the freedom in the centre circle as he turns and surveys his options and goes to his right for Jorginho. Now slightly ahead of square to Azpilicueta, but quickly back inside the Chelsea half. Not for long, because Kovacic will bring it forward, and as he tries to slide it through towards Mason Mount, Tanganga committed himself and knocked it away, and then he will get a yellow card for the most blatant bit of wrestling, as Mount threatened to get past him, and Tanganga grabbed him by the shirt and hoiked him back off the ball. That's the easiest decision Lee Mason will have all season.
Well, he was just rolling away, Mason Mount, from Tanganga, and he was in on goal. Should he have let him go? Tanganga knew that he had to stop him, and the only way he could was to grab him round the waist and pull him back.
He has lost both of his previous 4th round ties in this competition, Mason Mount, but on the winning side at the moment. A little bit of action on the Tottenham bench, and Højbjerg is going to be the first cab off the rank. He'll be coming on in a moment, just getting some final instructions from Nuno Santos. Chilwell firing this free kick inside the penalty area, and it's found a way through, and it looked for a moment as though it was a bad miss by one of the Chelsea players, but the whistle's gone, and it's a free kick to Spurs, and it wouldn't have counted. But they got 2 players attacking the far post area, coming around the back of Alderweireld, but the referee saw an infringement, and Spurs have a free kick.
Good delivery, and as you rightly say, Jim, two Chelsea players. I think it was Giroud who pushed Dyer, and the ball went to that far post area. They weren't expecting that ball, but the free kick was given.
Chelsea, Højbjerg high up and under, Giroud chasing it. It'll bounce towards Werner. Cleared well by Tanganga, and then Aurier will scoop it into his path on the right-hand touchline. He's done really well. Then he just chipped it over the head of Kovacic. He was hoping to find Ndombele, but Chelsea were able to bring it away with Chilwell down the line from Werner. Mount turning and colliding with Gedson Fernandes, and he's gone down holding his forehead. There was no foul from Gedson, but Mount is down. Frank Lampard immediately pointing to the forehead to attract Lee Mason's attention that his man might need some treatment. And Mourinho comes out and has a little look and gives his own expert medical opinion on Mason Mount's injury, and is prowling his Jose on the edge of the technical area. It's still bubbling away. 62 gone. Tottenham 0, Chelsea 1.
Well, as Mount spins off the line, he cuts the ball back behind him. Fernandes comes across, his left arm goes up. He doesn't strike Mason Mount, but he certainly stops him, cutting back inside him. Jose was furious. He thought that there was far from an infringement. Frank Lampard immediately says it's a head injury. The game stopped. Lee Mason gives the ball back for Tottenham to start.
And the change is made whilst all of that was going on, and it's Gedson Fernandes has come off, and Pierre-Emile Højbjerg is the man that has come on to replace him. Højbjerg, the man who won possession back more often than anybody else in the Premier League last season in his Southampton days. Ball just ricocheting off the thigh of Zuma onto his hand. He's able to get it away. It was certainly no intent. And Ndombele working it wide out to the Tottenham left, who played back through the midfield. It's Sissoko, but it was a heavy touch and he couldn't get a shot, and as a result of that, and across comes Zuma to knock it away, and it's even taken a deflection back off the Tottenham man and out for a Chelsea throw, which Spurs took. But Tanganga is told no, it definitely took a deflection on its way through. Thought for a moment Lee Mason was going to let that go, but it is a Chelsea throw, which Vernon will take on this left-hand side. And Chelsea themselves are poised to make a change very shortly. It's Emerson who is the man who's getting ready for action for them down beneath us. Hudson-Odoi trying to find Chilwell. Chilwell saying, well, you've got to put the ball into my feet there with the pressure that was around me. It went out of play for a throw. Chelsea win it back from that Tottenham throw very quickly. Jorginho's got it. Again, just dropping deep, splitting the two centre-halves. It's worked by Azpilicueta out towards the right-hand touchline. Eric Dyer stops Hudson-Odoi making any progress, and he goes out of play for throws. He's got a little bit scrappy again, which is clearly in Chelsea's favour with their lead still intact.
Yeah, the game very disjointed at the moment, neither side having controlled possession of the ball. Chelsea certainly not as energetic as and intense as they was in that first period, just finding it difficult, just being hurried by Spurs. They're turning over possession far too needlessly, which I don't think Frank Lampard will be particularly happy about.
Werner with a shove on Tanganga. Another free kick is given. Chelsea haven't made the changes yet, but will do in the next break in play. Emerson's ready now. Remember Chelsea's next match in the Premier League at home to Palace. Another London derby for you Saturday, with Mark Saggers in the chair and Dean Ashton alongside Sam for that one. It kicks off at 12:30. Game day live starting at 11 this coming Saturday on TalkSport. Chilwell has to stretch. Well, he's able to get on the end of a long crossfield ball and head it out towards the touchline. Back it comes to Tanganga. From him to Alderweireld. Spurs working it back inside their own half to Dyer. Dyer's long right-footed diagonal. Chilwell on the end of that one as well. Climbs above Aurier to knock it out of play. And the change will be made, and it is a straight swap at left back. That was Chilwell's last touch of the night. His full debut comes to an end, and Emerson is on for him.
Yeah, and I think that's understandable. Chilwell just being eased into his new Chelsea career. Emerson coming in, straight swap, left back for left back, and Chilwell will be happy, as is Frank Lampard, I'm sure, with his contribution.
Well, Emerson has only played 3 minutes of football in Chelsea's last 17 league games. But he gets an opportunity in the Cup tonight. And his first touch is to put it out of play for a throw, which Sissoko went to retrieve the ball and was two-footed by the invisible man right in front of the assistant referee, who he almost took with him in the process, which would have been a wonderful moment of early pantomime. But Sissoko's all right, he's back on his feet. Throw taken quickly. Lamela flicking it round the corner, sliced away, but for a throw rather than a corner by Kurt Zouma. And Spurs beginning just to apply a little bit more pressure.
Jim, you just sense that Chelsea are uneasy defensively. They're dropping deeper. Spurs are able to have possession higher up the field.
As Lamela he felt caught from behind by Kovacic, but plays allowed to continue. Chelsea knock it away, but Højbjerg picks up the pieces in the heart of the midfield, and he's worked it wide for Dyer, who's got Reguilon ahead of him. And now Eric Dyer will steam forward himself, and it's a good ball as well for Bergwijn, but he just couldn't quite get it into his stride effectively enough. And there's a low five between the two Chelsea centre-halves who mopped up. It was well played by Tomori.
Tomori again really recovered his position. It just looked for a second. Bergwijn gets a good first touch. He can then strike a goal, but Tomori was quick to intercept. Lamela
riding the challenge from Jorginho. Surprise, surprise. Now it goes out to the left-hand side of the penalty area, twisting and turning. An opportunity to try and get across in, and Ndombele couldn't deliver. Reguilon might be able to. Plays it forward, it hits Kovacic. Rolls out of play for a throw on the Spurs left. We're midway through the second half. No extra time, of course, tonight. The penalty's on the agenda if it's level after 90 minutes. Spurs looking for an equaliser. A right-footed effort comes in from Aurier, which hits Werner right in front of him and screws away down towards the corner flag to give Spurs their 4th corner of the night.
Good spell for Tottenham. They've got pressure on. They've got into the final third, but what they can't do at the moment is create that clear-cut opportunity on Mendy's goal.
Those are the thoughts of Clive Allen with us here on TalkSport. Corner from Lamela, left-footed in-swinger. Oh, the goalkeeper spilt that one. It's gone through his hands, headed away by a Chelsea player from behind him. Højbjerg picks it up left-hand side of the box, faced up by Jorginho, turns it back in, high left-footed cross. Mendy's handling was assured that time, but that was his first mistake, as he came a long way to deal with the ball coming in. It slipped through his hands, but he had a defender behind him to head away and alleviate the threat.
Well, he made a mistake, but he got away with it, and in the end Chelsea managed to alleviate the pressure. Mendy claiming the ball that's knocked back into the 6-yard box.
And Harry Kane's going to get just a little over 20 minutes tonight, because he's being spoken to now by Jose Mourinho, who is pointing something out over on the far touchline, something he spotted. And Harry Kane will be on in a moment for his second substitute appearance of this season already. 3 goals in his 4 appearances for Spurs, or 5 appearances for Spurs, should I say, so far in this campaign. And that quadruple assist down at Southampton a couple of weekends ago. We had twice as many assists in a 28-minute spell as he had in the whole of last season in the Premier League. And he'll come on now to replace Tanganga at the back. So Spurs will move back to a 4. So Kane for Tanganga, and Kovacic is coming off, and Conte's coming on to replace him for Chelsea. So both sides making their second change with 20 minutes to go.
Well, it's a competition that Jose's not too worried about progressing in, Jim. He just introduced Harry Kane, and that, I think, is a clear indication that he wants to get back into this tie. He wants to win through to the last 8.
He has won this competition, a record equaling 4 times as Jose Mourinho. 7 major honours in his days with Chelsea, including 3 league titles and 2 League Cups as well. Can he try and mastermind Spurs taking Chelsea's scalp in this competition in what will be a dramatic last 20 minutes? Kane involved straight away, and so too is the man that Chelsea just brought on, N'Golo Kanté. It's a lovely ball from him, weighted to perfection, just flicked out towards the right-hand touchline. Werner knocking it forward. Giroud is there, coming to meet him. Spurs get it away. Reguilon getting away from the initial challenge of Werner. Werner and Hudson-Odoi have swapped flanks for the time being. Werner's gone out to the right. Hudson-Odoi down to this near touchline, the Chelsea left. Aurier's got possession for Spurs, who are trailing 1-0 here on TalkSport. Sissoko getting the better of Conte. Work for Lamela, out to the right-hand side. Aurier's ball inside the penalty area, and a diving header from Reguilon at the far post. An awkward chance. He's put it quite a distance wide in the end. Might have been better, and it's very easy to say from here, going with his left foot. I think it died on him a little, and by the time that he got his head to it, it was probably only about a foot off the ground.
Yeah, it was really difficult to turn it in on goal. It was the 2 wing-backs that combined. Certainly Aurier's getting further forward down this right-hand side. He's running Hudson-Odoi back. The cross was a good one, but it bounced about a yard in front of Reguilon, who's arrived at that back post, and in the end he tries to just almost head it back across. It squirmed away for a Chelsea goal kick.
This is Jose's first League Cup tie with Tottenham, and as things stand, he's staring down the barrel of elimination in 3 successive League Cup ties in his defeats in his last 3 League Cup ties, should I say. Manchester United lost to Bristol City and Derby in successive ties, and now his Spurs side are losing to Chelsea, who have just won their first corner of the night, which will be taken over on the Chelsea right-hand side by Timo Werner. No, he's spotted it down and will amble inside the penalty area, and Mason Mount given the hurry up by the assistant referee Timothy Wood over on the far touchline, but he's only going through the motions really. No hurry, Chelsea, as you would expect. 4 from the edge of the penalty area, making runs inside the box, but it was a poor Chelsea delivery that was easily knocked away by Reguilon, and Bergwijn is the out ball. He's well challenged by N'Golo Kanté. Spurs thought it should be a free kick, as it is. Chelsea can play on. It's Werner again, and this time Lloris dives to his right and makes the save.
And Werner slaps the ground because he knows that was a great opportunity. The touch again, the first touch was good to give him the opportunity to strike with his second. It was low, and Lloris dropped down to his right-hand side onto the shot. Werner was disappointed he didn't finish it.
Callum Hudson-Odoi's got possession, right in the challenge of Harry Kane. 17 to go. With Clive Allen, I'm Jim Proudfoot, Hugh Woozencroft in the chair, and Declan McCarthy, our in-stadium producer here at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium. Aurier coming back and heading it away from Giroud down towards the corner flag. And then it's cleared up the right-hand touchline by Serge Aurier. But N'Golo Kanté can pick it up. He's not got much room to work with and has done so very ably. This is good play by Chelsea. Good approach play with Emerson. And then it's played forward by Mount, and Werner can keep it alive after a poor first touch. And Giroud wins the corner, but Werner, by his own high standards, if he'd taken the ball from Mount into his stride, it may well have been 2-0.
Jim, Conte's had 4 touches of the ball since he's been introduced. Absolutely brilliant. He won the ball back for the Werner chance. He just played 2 one-touch passes that ended up with an opportunity for Timo Werner, but his touch was heavy, went to the byline, scooped it back, resulted in Chelsea winning a corner.
That's some breaking transfer news, incidentally. Manchester City have completed the signing of Ruben Dias, centre-half, for £60-odd million. Fee to be confirmed, but Ruben Dias, a Manchester City player. Chelsea lead this one 1-0 as the corner comes in, and it's headed from the far post by Zuma. Lloris can pick it up. He's bowled it out really quickly and thrown it straight to N'Golo Kanté. And great use of the ball from him again. Lays it back inside his own half for Emerson, who's a great turn to find the angle. Now Edouard Mendy clears, the goalkeeper on debut, over Mason Mount's head. The Spurs will mop up at the back. Tammy Abraham will be on in a moment for Chelsea, which will be their final change. 15 to go. Alderweireld got the ball for Spurs, who had flashes of inspiration at one stage in this second half, but Chelsea's game management has just negated those opportunities since Conte has come on. The Spurs have another free kick now, and just as Chelsea are poised to make their final change, which will be Abraham for Giroud, Spurs will make theirs, and it's Lucas Moura coming on for Steven Bergwijn. Clive Allen.
Yeah, and an injection of pace with Moura to come on to play as close to Kane off the left-hand side as he can. Conte's introduction has been phenomenal for Chelsea, really has. He hasn't put a foot wrong. He really has just brought Chelsea's midfield to life since Frank Lampard made that change.
Your chance to react to tonight's game, of course, on the Sports Bar here on Talk Sport after us at 10. Andy Goldstein with Jermaine Beckford tonight. 08717 223344, the number to call. You can get your calls in, have your say on national radio from 10 o'clock tonight here on Talk Sport. And at the moment, you'll be reacting to a Chelsea victory. But Spurs have got Kane on, they've got Lucas Moura on, and Højbjerg's come on as well. 3 more of the players that started at the weekend. Chelsea bring it forward here. Hudson-Odoi over the bar. Done all the hard work, and he just stands on the edge of the penalty area with his back to goal and his face in his hands. He knows what a good chance that was to propel Chelsea through to the quarter-finals. He brought the ball down on his right foot, cut inside to the edge of the D. It all opened up for him, and he's fired over the bar. Everything was right.
The diagonal ball, the first touch, the position that he got himself into to fire the ball on the target, and his shot was wild. What a chance to wrap this tie up for Chelsea.
And Jose Mourinho, whilst all that was going on, has gone down into the dressing room. I don't know whether that's just a temporary thing, or whether it was a fit of pique and he's stormed off in disgust. Chelsea have it again. Werner turning it forward for Tammy Abraham. Abraham will take it out towards the right-hand touchline, get a return ball. And now it's worked back through the midfield. Out to the left. Eric Dyer has come back out. Here's Emerson. Emerson's ball inside the box. And it'll be cleared right-footed by Aurier into Abraham and out of play. So Dyer had gone down into the dressing room area. I don't know whether Jose had just sprinted down there to make sure that Eric Dyer was okay. Jose's back out now, and he is down by the seats. But Eric Dyer sprinted back down the tunnel. Maybe a comfort break and nothing more than that. But Spurs restored to their full complement of 11, and Jose's back on the edge of the technical area. It's all going off. 12 to go. 1-0 to Chelsea. And here's Lucas Moura. He just played it in behind Harry Kane. 9 goals short of 200 in Tottenham colours now. Got 6 of those against Chelsea in his career. Here's Aurier, bringing it down the right-hand touchline. He's asked a lot of Sissoko and Zuma, just able to open up his stride and guide it back for Mendy, who takes a touch and still looking very calm and composed under pressure. Just puts his right foot through it, lays it forward towards halfway. Aurier turning it now down the inside right channel for Lamela. Lamela trying to get the better of Conte, felt the hand on his back, went to ground, looking at the referee pleadingly. Lee Mason waves a finger and says no foul. Chelsea bring it forward quickly. It's Abraham to Mount. To his right-hand side is Werner. Couldn't pick him out. Spurs get it away. It's 2 against 1. Abraham has it, but Spurs have got the shake back behind the ball. Back for Mason Mount again. While they spurn some good opportunities, if ultimately they don't see this through, Chelsea, they'll be wondering how, because they've had 2 or 3 golden chances to put the game beyond Tottenham in the last 10 minutes.
They certainly have. They've been in great positions, good opportunities. They haven't been able to finish it off. But since the introduction of the 4 substitutes, Jim, the whole complex of the game has changed. There's a real intensity. There's a determination for both teams to try to win the game. They're going from end to end. It's a completely different contest.
1-0 Chelsea lead it with just a shade over 10 minutes to go. League Cup heritage between these two, which has seen them face off in 2 finals in the past, both of which have been one by Tottenham, one by Chelsea. Semi-finals between the two as well, with Chelsea winning 2 of those 3 semi-finals, Spurs winning the other one back in 2002. But Chelsea having done the double in the league over Spurs for the first time in 14 years last season. Set to win the first instalment of their rivalry this time round as well, and knock Spurs out of the League Cup as we go into the final 10 minutes. Tottenham bringing it forward. Højbjerg to the feet of Lamela. Lamela, good ball. Kane, right-hand side of the box, checks back inside. Harry Kane got the angle right, but not the elevation, and he's gone over the bar. Spurs, best chance of the second half.
And it fell to the man who you want it to fall to, Harry Kane, breaking down the right-hand side of the 18-yard box, shape-teed it with his right foot, drags it back brilliantly to create the angle, to wind it in with his left foot, but he scooped it up high over Mendy's bar. That was the first chance for Harry Kane. You would be expecting him to hit the target from there.
Well, it was Kane that scored the winner against Chelsea in the first leg of their semi-final a couple of seasons ago. 34 goals for club and country last season. Here's Lamela towards the edge of the penalty area. Kane just drifted into what would have been an offside position had the ball followed him in there. N'Golo Kante was able to clear. Sissoko winning it back in the midfield, plays it out to the Tottenham left for Lucas Moura. And you sense with 9 minutes to go this won't end 1-0 to Chelsea, but couldn't say with any great degree of conviction at which end the second goal of the night might come. Højbjerg back for Dyer, out to the right hand side via a deflection off Conte for Aurier. Right footed ball in from him, hits Emerson, bounces down towards the touchline. Aurier keeps it in, takes a touch, then another, and then another, working back towards the halfway line before feeding Højbjerg. He goes back for Alderweireld, square to his left hand side for Eric Dyer. 8 to go, 1-0 to Chelsea. Alderweireld 15 yards inside his own half.
Chelsea are dropping off now, Jim. Chelsea getting slightly deeper. Spurs controlling possession and the ball from their own half. They're not pressing with the intensity that they showed in that first period.
Poor ball from Alderweireld for Højbjerg, just a couple of yards ahead of him. He stretched out a right foot but couldn't get anything on it, and it's drifted out for a throw that Emerson's in no hurry to take for Chelsea. Home to Palace at the weekend. It's live on Talk Sport, and you'll hear every kick from 12:30 this coming Saturday. Spurs, of course, are home to Maccabi Haifa and then away at Manchester United over the next 96 hours. And now another yellow card will be produced. This one to Jorginho for a foul on Ndombele, which has given a free kick to Tottenham 8 yards inside Chelsea territory.
Yeah, he just struck for the ball and Ndombele released it quickly as Jorginho was trying to intercept. He clipped the back of his heels. Referee Lee Mason immediately issued him with a yellow card.
Højbjerg just saying to referee Mason, look, I want to take this free kick quickly. Any chance you could get out of the way. And he tapped him on the shoulder. The referee took a step forward. And Alderweireld gets the free kick. And it's worked inside the box for Lamela! 1-1! Tottenham with the equalising goal. 7 minutes from time. Long diagonal form from Toby Alderweireld. Worked back across the edge of the 6-yard box. And Eric Lamela's there to scoop it in. It's Spurs 1, Chelsea 1.
Well, it's Reguilon from that left-hand side that delivers with his right boot, and he almost like scoops the ball into the 18-yard box, more in hope than anything, and it came right the way across to Eric Lamela. It was completely unmarked. He took a lovely first touch and then just easily side-footed the ball into the bottom corner.
Second goal of the season for Eric Lamela, and it ties it up with 6.5 minutes to go. 1-1 the scoreline. And now we're back to square one. No closer to knowing who will be progressing. We'll find out inside the next 15 minutes or so. No extra time. Penalties on the agenda now. 6 minutes of normal time remaining plus stoppage time. And it's 1 apiece in a match in which Chelsea have led for more than an hour. But Tottenham are on level terms. And you think back to those 2 glorious opportunities that Chelsea spurned within the last 10 minutes to go 2-0 up, particularly the Callum Hudson-Odoi one. Here's Conte, forward towards Hudson-Odoi. Abraham's waiting in the middle if he can get it across. He's checked back and worked it to Mason Mount. Mount goes back behind square for Jorginho. Chelsea, much the more proactive of the 2 teams now that their lead has evaporated. Tamori to Zuma. Emerson is to his left-hand side. That's the pass that is played. Werner making a run. Just trying to get round the back of Pierre-Emile Højbjerg, who let him go, believing he would be offside by the time the ball got there.
Who's going to be brave? Jim, 6 minutes left to win it in 90 minutes. They know it's going to penalties. Should it finish all square?
Well, it's certainly Chelsea in the 90 seconds of play that we've seen since the goal went in that have been the braver of the 2. Here's Jorginho. Spurs now just dropping off in this back 4 formation that they have now. They started the game with a back 5. Jorginho bringing it forward towards the edge of the centre circle. 4.5 minutes to go on TalkSport. It's 1-1. Werner on 19. Lamela on 83. Conte through the centre circle to find Tamori. Jorginho to Kurt Zouma. And Zouma will bring the ball forward. He's got 2 players to his left. One of them's Hudson-Odoi, who will get it and will run at Eric Lamela and threads it through just too far ahead of Lamela. Too far ahead of Werner, I beg your pardon. Now Alderweireld can shepherd it back to Hugo Lloris, and we're 4 minutes away from stoppage time.
I think Eric Lamela actually just got a toe on that pass, which took it away from Werner as he was trying to receive the ball in the 18-yard box.
Now the other end, Lucas Moura to Harry Kane. Kane's got blue shirts all around him, but he's laid it back for Ndombele to Eric Lamela onto his left foot. He was blocked by Emerson, half cleared. Hudson-Odoi gets a touch. Aurier wins it back. Sissoko finds Højbjerg. Before he goes from Højbjerg into the feet of Tanguy and Ndombele, straight back again to the Dane. And now work back to Sissoko. Eric Dyer brings it forward. Only Alderweireld is back inside his own half for Spurs now. Left-footed ball in from Reguilon, behind the runners. Kane then flicks it over his shoulder. Eric Dyer tries to bring it down in the midfield, but it's knocked away by Jorginho. Højbjerg lets it bounce inside the centre circle and goes back for Alderweireld. Toby Alderweireld will just turn it forward again for Højbjerg. Dyer has been pushing forward to supplement the attack, now back into his customary centre-half position, as Lamela will hold it up and try and get the better of Kurt Zouma. It's rifled away by Jorginho, but picked up on the Tottenham right-hand side by Ndombele, and Conte physically held him up and stopped him coming past him, and it's a free kick to Spurs. Couple of yards in from the right-hand touchline with 2.5 minutes of normal time to go at 1 apiece.
Chance for Spurs. Conte just stood his ground, and then he wouldn't let Ndombele pass. He tries to play the 1-2, get in behind him. Opportunity now from this right-hand side. Looks like Eric Lamela might well be whipping this ball in left-footed towards that penalty spot.
That is indeed exactly what is going to happen. The Chelsea line outside the box, flicked in by Lamela, but he got the angle wrong, didn't get enough height to it. Played back in by Sissoko, a little shove by Emerson on the edge of the penalty area. Spurs have a player stayed down injured. Play goes on though with Lamela. Lamela will bring it forward. He's found Tanguy Ndombele. Alderweireld getting back to his feet only now, and it comes inside the box, but Mora's stretching couldn't bring it under control and turn. And Chelsea knock it away towards halfway, where Eric Dyer will run round it and pick it up for Spurs. 90 seconds of the 90 minutes to go. 1-1. We're heading for penalties at the moment here on TalkSport. It's the first of 6 of the 8 live League Cup ties that we've got for you over the course of this week on the TalkSport network. High ball from Højbjerg. The idea was right, the execution wasn't, because he's just scooped it wide of Reguilon's run, and out of play for a goal kick which Mendy will take, and by the time he takes it, we'll be in the final minute.
Yeah, and it's a final minute where any goal now would certainly be a winner. I think Spurs have responded particularly well in the second period. One apiece is a fair result at this stage of the game. Looks like we're going to penalty kicks, Jim.
Well, Mendy, if that were the case, would have the chance to make himself an immediate hero. Tammy Abraham, the target of his long ball forward. It's brought down by Højbjerg. On the right-hand side of the Tottenham midfield. He's worked it through the middle for Sissoko. To Alderweireld, now to Dyer. Be a fair bit of time to be added on at the end of this second half. Maybe 4 additional minutes, maybe 5. And Ndombele, right-footed ball clipped forward. Knocked away by Jorginho. Turned forward by Abraham. Werner back for Abraham. Chelsea still inside Tottenham territory. Conte with a beautiful nutmeg of Højbjerg brings it down towards Hudson-Odoi. Hudson-Odoi nudges it between Lamela and Aurier. Conte, the recipient of that pass, plays a first-time ball back for Hudson-Odoi on the Chelsea left. Comes towards N'Golo Conte again. Back from him to Jorginho in a central position. 35 yards from goal. Azpilicueta to Mason Mount on the right-hand side of the box. Only 3 minutes of stoppage time to be played, and we're in them now. 1-1 the scoreline. Conte, good turn, N'Golo Conte. Still N'Golo Conte goes. Werner with a shot that was going wide but deflects back into the fray. And Reguilon will be there first and will clear for Tottenham. Long ball forward towards Kane, who watched it drop over his shoulder and try to scoop it past Zuma. Tomori mops up for Chelsea. Back for Zuma again. And now to Callum Hudson-Odoi. It's Chelsea asking the questions. 1-1 the score. Hudson-Odoi's ball inside the box, looking for Abraham, knocked away by Dyer. Brought down by Conte. Conte's pressurised by Tanguy Ndombele. It's laid back for Zuma on halfway. Now to Jorginho. Jorginho to his right-hand side for Azpilicueta, whose ball in hits the nearest Spurs player. Loops up towards the edge of the box. Off Lucas Moura's touch. Højbjerg heads it away. Back it comes again to Zuma, and now to Emerson. The Spurs can't get out at the moment. They can't get a touch on the ball. Chelsea just hoping that they can create one last worthwhile opportunity. 1-1 the scoreline with a minute and a half of stoppage time to go, and then it will be penalties. Emerson to Hudson-Odoi. Hudson-Odoi just slows down to walking pace. Can't wriggle his way past Serge Aurier. So he's worked it back for Zuma. Zuma to Tomori. Jorginho just outside the centre circle. 4 for Mason Mount, who takes the ball on the half turn. Faced up now by Højbjerg. He's got Azpilicueta out to his right-hand side. But the angles aren't there for the Chelsea man, and he's forced to go back towards halfway again.
There's no movement in front of the ball either for Chelsea. They're playing, they're keeping possession, going side to side, but they need someone to make a run, trying to get in behind that Spurs defence.
Hudson-Odoi back inside the centre circle for Tomori. 50 seconds to go. Zuma down for Emerson. Tammy Abraham has got Eric Dyer close to him. Dyer then pushing out to try and force Abraham away. Chelsea maintaining possession. They've had it all the way through stoppage time, but just can't work the opening. His patience and persistence from Chelsea, but not the potency that they need to go with it at the moment. 1-1 the score. Werner, who scored that magnificent first goal for Chelsea, pegged back by Eric Lamela 7 minutes from time. 20 seconds to go. Time running out for Chelsea even to try and work the goalkeeper here. Werner playing it forward. Emerson trying to get it out wide towards Hudson-Odoi. Lamela loses out. Werner's won it back. Werner clipping it onto his right foot. Ball headed away by Alderweireld inside the penalty area. Spurs hoping to set up a counter-attack, and N'Golo Kanté again takes matters into his own hands, stops that counter-attack happening, and that's the last action of the 90 minutes. And we're going to penalties. Tottenham 1, Chelsea 1. The Blues leading for an hour, but couldn't hold on to Timo Werner's goal. Eric Lamela with the equaliser. And the place in the quarterfinals will be settled from the penalty spot. And I often think that it might be worse if you're taking the first one in a shootout, because if you're taking any of the subsequent ones, okay, there might be a little bit of pressure on, but at least you know the time frame involved. Eric Dyer's had to wait a long time there, knowing that he's going first, to be given the ball. Mendy jumps up and down on his line. The opportunity to face the first of this penalty shootout. It's Eric Dyer who will hit it right-footed and has sent Mendy the wrong way. 1-0 to Spurs. Mendy diving to his left and the ball going to his right into the bottom left-hand corner as we look at it. That was a good penalty by Eric Dyer.
Yeah, confidence, as you said. He had to wait a while. I think he had in his mind clearly that he was going to sweep that with his right foot away into the bottom corner. As Mendy dropped away to his left, Eric Dyer tucked it away neatly.
Tammy Abraham, first up for Chelsea. In his yellow boots, he makes his way forward, he picks up the ball and he just spins it in his hands, spots it down now. Lloris standing back behind the line. Abraham standing, hands on hips, now bends his run up, right-footed, and he's put it in exactly the same place that Eric Dyer did. And Lloris has dived into exactly the same place that Mendy did. And it's 1-1 after one apiece.
Both different approaches from the goalkeepers. Mendy quite animated, jumping around. Hugo Lloris just stood there, crouched down, hands on knees, was motionless until that ball was struck. He fell away to the left. Abraham, as you rightly said, swept the ball the same side as Eric Dyer did, one apiece.
Eric Lamela, second up for Tottenham, to hit it left-footed. Mendy, no histrionics on the line this time, and again the ball is put into that bottom left-hand corner, and again the goalkeeper's dived the wrong way. 2-1 to Tottenham, all three penalties successfully converted so far. And it's Sergio Azpilicueta, is it, that makes his way forward next up for Chelsea to maintain parity here.
Yeah, all three penalties, all in exactly the same position. Is it time for change now? Azpilicueta, Hugo Lloris once again coming from the back of the net, walking forward, planting himself on the line.
Azpilicueta right-footed, and that was him more centrally, but Lloris dived to his left-hand side, and all four penalties have been superbly dispatched so far. And Azpilicueta looks across at his goalkeeper and just gives him a little fist pump there. 2-2 after two apiece.
Yeah, just wagged his finger at the new goalkeeper Mendy, asking for a little bit more from him, I'm sure, in this penalty shootout.
Next up, Højbjerg. Spots it down. Lee Mason making sure that the ball is legitimately placed. Mendy again bobbing up and down on his line. It's a short run up, and Højbjerg tucks it right into the corner, in almost off that left-hand post. Mendy hasn't got anywhere near any of the three, and Højbjerg goes across, and there's a little fist bump between him and his goalkeeper. It's 3-2 to Spurs. All five penalties have been successfully put away so far. And here's Chelsea's.
And all five, Jim, have gone to the left-hand side of the goal. I just wonder if that just puts a little bit of pressure on Jorginho now as he walks up thinking, should I go the other way? Can I go the same way that all five have gone before me?
Well, Chelsea's regular penalty taker, normally so nerveless from the spot. It's a long run up from him, the longest we've seen so far. Breaks into his stride and he squeezes it in. Lloris knew what was coming, but the quality of the penalty was so good that he couldn't get there. Lloris diving down to his left-hand side, full length, knew exactly where Jorginho was going to put it, but he just couldn't reach it in time. It's 3-3.
Well, he went the other way. It was really nonchalant, the way that he just skips in front of the ball before he strikes it, and he side foots it perfectly into the bottom corner.
So 1-1 after 90 minutes, and 3 apiece after 6 nerveless penalties in the shootout. And Lucas Moura is the man who will take penalty number 7. And this time Mendy bobbing up and down, throwing his arms across his body on the line, dancing up and down on the spot. Moura breaks his stride and again goes bottom left-hand corner. And at no stage has Edouard Mendy thrown himself at any of these penalties so far. They've all gone the same way from Spurs, and they've all been scored. And Emerson will hope to keep the 100% record intact here.
Jim, penalties of the highest quality, the goalkeepers haven't got anywhere near them. They haven't got a glove on the ball, so I think it just emphasises there's a real confidence about the way both teams are taking these penalties.
So Emerson scored at Liverpool in the League Cup last season, his only Chelsea goal. What can he muster from the spot here in this shootout to keep Chelsea level? Long run up, and that's a really good penalty, hit with ferocity, pretty much down the centre. Lloris diving to his left-hand side, nowhere near it, and it's 4 successful penalties apiece. And forward comes Harry Kane.
Just felt Lloris went a split second early there, made up Emerson's mind. He just tempered his run, and then Hugo's already going away to his left-hand side, and he fires it in with power.
Harry Kane scored the winner against Chelsea in the first leg of the semi-final of this competition a couple of seasons ago. But if he were to miss this penalty, it would be a massive advantage to Chelsea. Kane taking 4 steps back. 4-4 in the shootout. Kane to take this, to make it 5-4 to Tottenham, and he sent Mendy the wrong way. Mendy attacking the ball with more conviction this time. Kane rolled it into the other corner, the bottom right as we look at it. And Spurs have scored all 5 of their regulation penalties, but of course after 4-4, when they'd all been scored effectively, we're into sudden death already. It's Mason Mount who strides forward, and he has to score to keep Chelsea in the League Cup.
Well, there's not been a poor penalty, there's not been a miss-hit. Pressure's on Mason Mount.
Lloris on his haunches, Mount in, put it wide! And it's Tottenham that go through, and Mason Mount is the villain in the penalty shootout, and Harry Kane is the first man racing forward, jumping on Hugo Lloris as Tottenham win the penalty shootout. Jose Mourinho wrote this competition off in the press conference yesterday. He said there was no chance that Spurs would be able to go through. He was going to have to give it up this season because of their European commitments. Fast forward 30 hours, and Mourinho has masterminded Tottenham knocking his old club Chelsea out of the competition. Chelsea had won each of the last 4 cup meetings between these two sides, but Mason Mount missed the penalty, and Spurs have won it in a shootout 5-4.